We're finishing projects! I'm my own worst enemy, I swear to God, but we're finishing projects, alright? Body doubling is amazing, so go get whatever project you're supposed to be working on and are avoiding. I see you. And come do some crafting with me. Also, hi, I'm Ghosty. And I am not good at starting tasks. I'm somehow even worse at finishing them, which is actually incredible. But why does it always feel like getting the final details on a project together takes so much more time and energy and focus than the middle stages do? I don't understand it. But I'm fed up having a bunch of half-done projects lying around, so I'm working on completing some of them. Hopefully it'll make my brain and my shelves, honestly, feel a bit more tidy. Fingers crossed. I've had this Charmeleon sprite and his little backing cutout sitting around on my shelf for a few weeks now. The backing sheet's been primed already, which is why it's this horrible light grey right now, but that just made all the rough edges stand out. I found a pack of sandpaper that I bought for a project I literally can't remember right now, so here I am trying to sand the edges down to look a bit neater. I've given up entirely on having the backing piece match the outline of the pixel art though. It's cute, but it's also much more raggedy than this, and I don't think I physically possess the patience to manually sand down every little right angle. It might actually drive me to madness. Last time I stuck one of these down to its backing, I didn't position it right on the first go, and it stuck looking super wonky. Because super glue bonds really fast, as it turns out. So I'm trying out E6000, which I heard is decently strong. But this is also thicker than super glue, so it doesn't just drip onto the mat, and should give me a window to reposition the sprite if I mess it up at first. I haven't actually been able to test that, because surprisingly this went on fairly well. But fingers crossed for when I inevitably mess up again. Unfortunately, I am, as previously mentioned, my own worst enemy, and yeah, if you've been paying attention, you've probably figured out what I did wrong here, but I was supposed to paint the backing first, because this grey is also is just primer. So now it's time to paint around Charmeleon, which definitely isn't a problem for someone with negative levels of hand-eye coordination. Not going to be a problem at all. I really like this colour. It's called Sotek Green, which is absolute bullshit because it's definitely much, much closer to blue than it is to anything else. It's barely turquoise, but it is a really nice colour. I couldn't be bothered to go find a proper brush, so I'm just doing this with a chunky little dry brush, which definitely doesn't backfire at all. This actually did bother me a lot. It feels a little worse than it did at the time because I also made a bit of a mess of the other pieces I worked on this week, which I'll talk about in another video. And that might be retroactively colouring my view of this project, but this was a pain point for me and was the start of getting really frustrated with myself and my projects. I recently had to answer the question, are you prone to making careless mistakes? It was really hard to answer because A, my memory for that kind of thing is pretty rubbish, And B, at work, no, I'm really not. In my personal life, though, and especially when I'm making things or trying something new, I make careless mistakes all the time. It knocked my confidence so badly when I was younger that for a long time I just stopped doing either of those things. The answer was technically no, I guess, but the honest answer is no, but with the massive caveat that it's because I just don't do much except work. You know, if this video had existed at the time, it probably would have been easier to just show them this, instead of trying to remember examples off the top of my head. Yep, this is me cleaning all the paint off the actual little bead gem things. Told you it wouldn't backfire. I'm making a deliberate effort to actually do things outside of work. Specifically, I'm making a deliberate effort to engage in creative hobbies because it turns out that's what makes me happy. Is that although I fully and completely believe that you don't actually have to be good at something to do it or enjoy it, I haven't yet shed the almost automatic frustration that constantly tripping myself up with stupid mistakes generates. And yeah, don't get me wrong, some frustration is normal, but I've got to try to remember that although I don't often make that kind of mistake at work, it's mostly because I've had literal years of practice and process refinement. I've been in my current job for a long time now. Actually making things somewhat regularly is something I've only been doing for a couple of months. Of course it's harder, I've had less practice at it, and it's a completely different skill set. Plus, that kind of obsessive attention to detail is a massive contributor to the frequent cycles of exhaustion and burnout that I've dealt with for most of my adult life, and I don't want that to become part of my hobbies. I want my hobbies to make me happy, that's why I do them. I might just need to chill the fuck out, honestly. I'll always be someone who tries to optimize how I do things because it genuinely makes it easier for me to function on a day-to-day basis, but I also want to just be able to let mistakes go without beating myself up over them. It's not like berating myself is ever going to make my brain work differently. If that worked, it would have worked a long time ago. If you also deal with this, oh well, first off, I'm sorry, it sucks. But secondly, I would love to know how you handle it. I've got a lot better at starting stuff I know I'm not skilled at yet, just by telling myself that perfection isn't reasonable to expect, but actually sticking with something where my lack of knowledge or practice actually creates difficulties feels very different. And that's even with the fact that I actually really like developing and refining my processes. It's a weird dichotomy, so yeah, please, if you have tips, please, for the love of all that's holy and also my sanity, please leave them in the comments. I can't tell you how difficult attaching the keyring really was. Nobody whose hand-eye coordination is as bad as mine has any business doing stuff with pliers, or frankly anything this small and fiddly. Why all my hobbies are ones that require at least decent hand-eye coordination is beyond me. Why do I only like the things I'm bad at? What's that about? Despite my difficulties with this and related projects though, I actually really like how this keyring / ornament turned out. I think it's cute as hell, and I learned a few things, which is great. I officially love UV resin for a start, it cures so quickly. Are there a few things I'd change for the next project? Sure. You know, there's a little bit on the right hand side that doesn't really look as smooth as the rest, and the resin doesn't go all the way to the edge on the whole project because I was worried about it just dripping off the side, and I think I'd prefer a straighter edge than the slope that this method generates. And I'll also probably try to go closer to the actual gems with the outline and make things a bit smaller. But overall, yeah, I'm pretty proud of this. It's going to look really cute on the little tree in my room along with my Pikachu and my partner Eevee. And to be fair, I'm making these for me. It's not like I'm selling them. They don't need to be perfect. Overall, I'm pretty proud of my little mean girl fire lizard. Ooh, also, I'm probably never going to tell you to like and subscribe. I assume you know how YouTube works, but please do tell me your favourite Gen 1 Pokemon in the comments because I love to hear people talk about the things they enjoy and why. I'll probably do another video of finishing projects, but in the meantime, I hope you're enjoying your hobbies, and I'll see you in the next one.